Hi guys, it's Weedit, and I made this tag not terribly long ago in a previous video, but what I want to talk about are these embellishments. Okay, they are dimensional. I don't know if I can, there we go. They are dimensional, they're flexible, and as you can see in this card, they made quite a statement, quite an impact on this particular card. So this is a method that has been explored by numerous YouTubers, Cindy Utter, Gina Ahrens, ANXY, maybe, I think I might have that right, and a whole bunch of others. So I wanted to kind of curate what I found out from watching all of their videos and from some of my own experiments. So it's sort of a recap of everything that I could find on it. It's really neat. It's using, let me get this out of the way, cake decorating molds, okay, for fondant, and push back some of these. And the molds, and I have not cleaned my molds so you can see just what they look like, but this is the particular mold that I used on this card, and it is rather deeply etched, okay, which was nice, and it did give some good dimension again on that card. And there's another one. Those two are exactly the same. This is probably actually the mold that I did use. Here's one, and we will come back to this one. This was a fail, not because of the mold, but I think because of what I used in it. So we will come back to it. Here is a new one that I will probably show you how I mix up, and I've got a little bit there, how I mix up some of the stuff that I use to make these, but these are the others, and they do need cleaning at this point. This was just after I literally pulled the embellishments out and then did not do anything with the molds. So you could see, and here's this one, and this still has some in it. This one was a little bit more fragile than the others, but it still came out pretty well. And I love this. This has the floral design in it, which you can see I did that in blue, and I need to trim that up. And this has a leaf design, which I did in green. These are not, well, you can, they're like anything else. You can spend a lot of money, or you can spend a little bit of money, but they make really fantastic custom embellishments. So the key, though, is what do you use on the molds and how do you use them? And as mixed media people, we are always experimenting, and a lot of people have done their experimenting, and I want to show you some of the results that I've gotten and the different media that I have used. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out, and this still hasn't gotten everything, but see, this is a beautiful lacy. Now this is the side that went into the mold, where it's still shiny, but it's more, I would say, refined, and this is more glittery. This particular one, I used Radiant Gels by Color Art, and I found that the Radiant Gels work very, very nicely with this method, with these molds. It's flexible, and that's really the key. You want a medium, okay, that is flexible for it. Then when This again is that highly dimensional. It's just like the purple one I used on the tag, and I used the Viva modeling cream. And I know Cindy Utter was experimenting with this. She's like me. She really loves this stuff. It works well in stencils, but it also works really well in the molds. And again, this is the part that was in the mold, and I'm going to see if I can. And that was a side that was at the top that was exposed to the air. So your Viva modeling creams seem to work very well, one exception, and I will get to that shortly. This is yet another one of the molds. I got a little pink in there. Again, the modeling cream. This is just beautiful. You could use it as is or split it down the middle and have gorgeous lace edging. This would be so beautiful for cards. I've used it already on a tag. Mixed media, really, I'm very excited. And again, this is the side, okay, that was in the mold, and this is the side that was not. And I have not cleaned up any of these, all right? This is exactly how I pulled them out of the mold. Here is that luscious purple and a little butterfly mold. That, again, this was the Radiant Gels, okay, Snapdragon, and so that's just gorgeous. And then here is a little bit left over from that tag that I made. Okay, these little individual ones, again, were made with the Viva modeling cream. Gorgeous little flowers. But this is one way to make customized embellishments your own way, your own style. Okay, I need to get this pulled out. Now, this speaks to me. Ooh, that is gorgeous. That again was the air side. That was the side that was in the mold. Okay, and we have that beautiful heart. And this was made with Art Anthology. Okay, so, and I am totally in love with that look. This one, I believe, okay, dried a little odd. It's a little orangier than I expected, and again, I didn't clean these up. This one needs to be a little bit if I wanted to. There's some little edges in it, and I don't know if you can see. There's some little holes that aren't quite holes, okay? Some of it didn't come through. And now, the one thing that I did have, and I don't see where I pulled this one. I don't know if that's it or not. I'm not sure what I used for that butterfly, but it was one of these. It was either Art Anthology, Radiant Gels, or modeling cream at this point. I did use some other stuff shortly that I will get into. The black did not. I don't know why I used it in this particular mold, which I used in numerous instances because, quite frankly, it was the first mold that I got, so I was playing with it with everything, until I got more molds. And what I discovered was that this became brittle. I don't know if it's my bottle, I don't know if it's the color, I don't know. I will do more experiments and let you know, but the black did not work, except I got this lovely little heart out. Maybe it broke right there, so it's not complete. I'm not worried about that little bit, but yeah, so not sure on the black for this. Now to get to the nitty-gritty, and this was with some research. Okay, this is where I kind of curated the information from other internet people. I swear her YouTube, ANYX or ANXY. I so wish I could remember, because I want to give credit where credit is due. She has done a lot of experimenting with this, and I used 3 other things in order to expand, because using this stuff, this can get really expensive. So to try to make something a little bit more affordable, and again, ANXY, ANYX, I wish I could remember, discovered that if you're going to use Liquitex modeling paste, it needs to be flexible. Okay? The regular Liquitex modeling paste is too brittle. You can mix this with color, and this is the one I did with that. Okay. This is, and you can see there are some spots, all right, that didn't quite come through. That, you know, if you wanted to, you could take an X-Acto knife and you could trim it up a little bit, but this is incredible to me. That is just beautiful, and that was with, it's a matte, whereas all these others are pearly or shiny. This is matte. This was the modeling paste. Okay. This next one, the green, which came out, again, unbelievable. You do have to be careful. You do have to be careful when you're unmolding these, alright, because they are fragile. But you see, there's very little that I have to do. Show you the back side. Okay, that's the side that was exposed to air, and I don't know if you can see, it's got a little bit more texture to it, so it's like a little more leafy, actually. That was done with Golden Heavy Gel Gloss. Yeah, it's not glossy. I think because I mixed in the matte, or I mixed in the paint, it's just not, it's not glossy. But this stuff, which is not quite as flexible, okay, but still pretty good. Okay, we had a little mishap right here, and I didn't try to get a whole row of this stuff, pink not really being my thing, but what I used was really interesting in that it was DAP Quick Seal Kitchen and Bath Adhesive Caulk in bright white. The one thing that you want to be careful of is that you don't get anything that says with silicone or siliconized, because you're using silicone molds and it will just stick to the mold. So that's not what you want to do. So these are the embellishments. Now I want to show you how I am getting the results that I am. And we'll use, I'll use some of this caulk, okay, and we'll just see how it goes with this one. Okay, I know that that one has worked in others, so what I want to do, I do keep these where they're kind of not completely touching. This is actually like the top of a storage set of drawers. They're made for kitchens. I use them for art supplies. I use everything for art supplies. My husband is always bringing me stuff saying, okay, is it trash or an art supply? And the answer is usually, it's, oh no, valuable art supply. And he said, well, that's what I thought. That's why I checked with you. So I just sort of put them on there. I live in a very humid climate, so I don't mind a little overlap, but I don't really want to just stack them willy-nilly. Okay, so let me put these aside. And let me put these molds aside. And you can spend as little as a couple dollars on them, or as much as 20 or probably even more. So I'm going to use this mold that I know that has worked well before. I'm going to use some of this caulk. And I do have this in a caulking gun. That would be thanks to the dear old hubby. And I'm not sure if I'm not doing it right to get it out. I'm not sure how this thing actually operates, but it seems to me like I should be getting something here. Okay, this is my own incompetence on how to run a caulk gun that's showing here. Maybe. No? It's putting pressure on it. So, I don't know. It's trying to come out. Alright, I'm going to have to become more of a handyman in the caulk. There we go. I had to pull the little bead out. I was told to always leave a little bead. So I'm going to squeeze. There we go. I don't, you can't see that. Oh, what a shame. Okay. I'm sorry. There we go. So I'm getting some of the caulk out. And then I was warned, whoops, to leave a little curl of caulk at the end and let it dry like that. And I had to pull that out completely, okay, before my caulk started flowing freely. So that was the ticket on that one. Now I'm going to just use, and I use a cheap, I love these things, palette knife, and I'm going to use some very inexpensive paint. I'm going to put a blob in there because that's exact and precise. And then I'm going to mix this up. And I've mixed up enough that I may need more than this one mold. I don't know. But I do try to mix it up pretty well. And the cool thing is, if you didn't want to mix it up really well, then you could get kind of a mottled look in your mold, which would be kind of fun to get a little more dimension in it. But I haven't played with that yet because I don't know, I'm just figuring this out, and I don't know if having too much paint and having it not, the caulk not mixed thoroughly. I am trying not to spend a whole lot of money on art supplies. I'm not saying it's a freeze, but I have a lot. So I think that my focus right now, okay, is going to be on trying to use what I've got. Now, when I do this, I put this in heavily, and I kind of, you know how you use a palette knife, you rock it one way, rock it another. I kind of do that to get it worked in to all the little areas. And then you're going to find me coming back and scraping. And I spend a little bit of time working it, because I found a little bit of time spent at this point gives a really nice product. So I'm working that in. And I just keep going, just keep going. Yes, I've been watching Finding Dory. One of the greatest movies, aside from Finding Nemo. And see there, I might get some slight mottling in the color, because I didn't have that completely mixed up. But now this mold is kind of deep, so I want to make sure I do get it full. I don't want gaps. And I keep working, and I've got, looks like, there, we don't need that. Okay, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on cleanup or trying to get this what is that, the little areas that aren't completely cleaned off. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing that in the end. So I come through and I wipe. And I wipe. And I wipe. And I see holes, and so I smooth. And I wipe. And my goal is basically to get the top, to get this medium, this caulk medium, level, okay, with the top of the mold, but to get all of the mold areas filled. And that does kind of involve going in different directions and paying a little bit of attention at this stage. And I think that may be pretty good. I think I may be good on this one. So I'm going to kind of clean a little bit away. I tried playing with these when they were less than 24 hours old. Don't do it. Don't do it. You will, when it's not fully set, when it's not fully cured, what you end up doing is playing with a mold that is somewhat brittle. Not the mold is brittle, but the medium that you put in it tends to be a little bit on the brittle side, and so you don't get particularly good results. It breaks apart and doesn't come out well. So I've learned, just go ahead and set it aside, which means I have to make up a bunch of it in advance, because I'm not particularly patient, and when I want something, I want it. So I make up a bunch of these ahead of time, as well as being interested in playing and see how they're going to turn out. But make up a bunch ahead of time so I've got them. But this is such a great way to customize whatever embellishments you want. Okay, little more, little more, little more, filming.
Hello.
He said hello.
Hi.
He said hi.
I said you're loved.
You're not saying I'm loved?
I am saying you're loved.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And here I'm trying to pay very close attention to my butterflies so that I yeah. I don't know if you can, whoops, wrong way. Since I had extra, I mean, let's not waste it, go ahead and use it. I want my butterflies to be filled, but I don't want, and when you scrape off too much like I did right there, just fill in, go back. Again, it's all in, I keep saying the same thing over and over. Teacher and me say it 3 times in 3 different ways, but just apply it and try to be thorough and scrape. Now, one thing I've noticed right here is that I'm getting some overlap, and I don't really want that. So I'm trying to scrape off the top. There. Okay. I was working off camera a little bit. I'm sorry. And maybe I've got just enough for that last little butterfly. We'll see. The caulk dries fairly quickly. But yep, I think I'll get that last little butterfly in. And this is fun. I like making, I've got molds and I like using air dry clay and polymer clay in them to make my own embellishments. And I think when we make our own embellishments, it makes a work more interesting. Okay. I'm hoping I've got enough in there. And that's it, guys. I will let you know in a later video how this comes out. If it comes out well, then I will probably use it in a card or a tag. But I wanted to share with you what I had found. I'm super excited about the kitchen and bath adhesive caulk, because that is much less expensive than using up your radiant gels or your modeling cream. And I may try adding in a little glitter in the future and seeing how that goes with it. So thank you for spending this time with me, and y'all just have an absolutely great evening or day or week or whatever. Thank you for spending time with me. Bye.